Welcome to Hood War Stories. In this episode, I'll be discussing an incident involving Sombra. Dexter Paul Williams, also known as Sombra, is a black Southsider from the Monrovia Nuevo Barrio gang. There's a big misconception that Sureño gangs don't allow black members. But in reality, a large percentage of Latino gangs have black members, especially from 1970 to 1990. And until this day, many barrios have a handful of black members. Demographic shifts and heavy prison politics pushed forward a lot of racial strife between black and brown gangs, which reached a peak in the 2000s, thus making Sureño gangs less mixed. Monrovia Nuevo Barrio is an Hispanic gang based in Monrovia, California. In the 2000s, Monrovia Nuevo Barrio was involved in a racially charged, extremely volatile war against the Do-Rock Crips. In a period of about 18 months, there are about 79 shootings between Do-Rock and Monrovia Nuevo Barrio. The intense gang warfare rocked the city. These two gangs were locked and loaded. The accumulated bodies left ill feelings on both sides, and some members may have been left harboring racial animosity. On August 28, 2004, Gabriella and her brother Angel had a party at their parents' house in Monrovia. Angel was a member of the Monrovia gang, who at the time did have some white and black members. Gabriella did not associate with the gang. Because the siblings had different friends, the partygoers split into two groups, with Gabriella's friends mostly hanging out in the patio, and Angel's friends congregating in the alley. The party was mostly attended by Hispanics, but a few blacks were present. Many MNV gang members attended, including Derek, Jorge, Teddy, and Ernesto. A few hours after Jorge got to the party, Sombra arrived in a light-colored car. He parked off to the side in the alley. Sombra was an OG MNV gang member, and is nicknamed Sombra, which is Spanish for shadow. Sombra said hello to some of the gang members in the alley and headed toward the house where some of Gabriella's friends were congregated. Sombra walked up to a group that included Joseph, Amanda, Shannon, and Gabriella's older brother Jose. No one in the group knew Sombra. Sombra then asked Joseph for a cigarette and was given a Marlboro Red. Joseph then left because he did not know Sombra and he felt awkward. Amanda and Shannon also felt uncomfortable. Eventually, all of Gabriella's friends left Sombra to go inside, which offended Sombra. Amanda tried to defuse the situation, but Sombra appeared to be getting angry. Gabriella went over to Sombra and asked if he was looking for his friends. She indicated that Angel's group was in the alley. Later in the evening, Jorge saw Ernesto and Sombra standing in the alley in a confrontational way. Teddy then witnessed Ernesto call Sombra a racial epithet. Ernesto threw his arms up at Sombra in a challenging manner, then turned away from Sombra. Sombra then pulled out a gun and fairly shot Ernesto once in the back of the head. After the shooting, everyone scattered, except for Gabriella, who was in the house and ran out to the alley. Initially, she thought the gunshot was a loud firecracker and assumed her brother was setting off fireworks. Gabriella then noticed Ernesto's body laying on the ground near Sombra's car. She thought that Ernesto was drunk or had gotten in a fight. Sombra then got in the car and tried to leave, but Ernesto's body was behind his left tire and blocked him from driving away. Sombra then tried to back over the body with his car. Gabriella tried to unsuccessfully revive Ernesto, so she banged on the car and yelled for Sombra to stop driving because there was a body behind his car. She then screamed for someone to call the police. Sombra told her not to call. She was able to move Ernesto with her brother's help. Once Ernesto was clear of Sombra's car, Sombra drove off. The murder remained unsolved until 2008, until the investigation was reopened, and witnesses to the crime were re-interviewed as part of the investigation. In the course of one such interview, Joseph stated for the first time he had given Sombra a cigarette. The detective had cigarette butts found at the crime scene tested for DNA. Sombra's DNA was found on one cigarette from the scene. The assigned detective heard that Jorge had information about the murder and picked him up on a probation violation. Jorge denied being at the party initially, but then said he saw Sombra shoot Ernesto. He recanted his statement at Sombra's first trial, but decided to testify in his second trial because he didn't want to be taken away from his daughter. At retrial, Jorge told the detective that he was afraid for his family. Jorge had to be relocated, but a brick had been thrown through his window after he moved. Sombra was an OG member with higher rank. There's essentially a hierarchy in gang culture, and if an older member is disrespected, he must respond forcefully to maintain respect. Within a barrio, loyalty is everything, and gang members may retaliate against a snitch or his family members by assaulting or killing them. Jorge testified under grant of immunity. The detective also interviewed Charles, who said that Shadow smoked baby. The detective also interviewed Sombra, who denied being at the party several times. During the trial, the detective had began to listen to calls that Sombra was making from jail. In one call made during trial, he told his mother that everyone needs to get the same story straight. Due to substantial evidence and key witness testimony, Dexter Paul Williams, also known as Sombra, was found guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to 110 years to life in state prison, comprised of the 25 years to life on the murder conviction, tripled under the 3 strikes law, 25 years to life for the gun enhancement, and 10 years for the 2 prior convictions. Sombra is in prison locked in with his Sureño brothers, and is currently working on his appeal. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.